I just want to let the NFL know, and let every NFL team know around the league that I wasn't ready for this wild of an NFL offseason.
She wasn't ready.
I'm just kidding. I was ready. I was fully prepared. I knew that this was going to have a lot of moving pieces with all the salary cap issues and everything else. But what are my thoughts on some of these big and bold moves performed by these teams? Well, I figured I would go through and grade some of these moves that are already official in the NFL. Lowest grade being F, highest grade being A. Let's get it. But first, hit that intro.
I gave you fair warning, beware. Smack him in the mouth.
Toward the end zone, it is caught for the touchdown.
Smack him in the mouth. I gave you fair warning, beware. I'll smack him in the mouth.
Hey, good to see you again. In case you forgot, I am Mike, and I am on the mic of the most electrifying sports YouTube channel in the game today. Hello everyone, how's it going? Here with another installment of the Mike on the Mic Sports YouTube channel. Still getting used to not calling it a sports podcast because we are now video and audio on YouTube. Excited for it. Something else that I'm excited about is this free agency and how it's going. We got players flying around to all teams, a lot of moves that make sense, a lot of moves that don't make sense, and we're going to get into all that. But first, can you please help me out and take 2 seconds to help make my dreams come true? We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers to where we can monetize. We are currently sitting at about halfway to that point. If you can take the 2 seconds, like I said, to tap that subscription button and tap that little notification bell next to it, I would really appreciate it. I would appreciate it so much that I'm even going to leave a blank space here of a couple seconds, 2 seconds to be exact, for you to go ahead and hit the subscribe button and notification bell. Ready now. Okay, welcome to the squad. Good to have you as a subscriber. Let's get into the video. Bill Belichick must have took Tom Brady and the Buccaneers winning the Super Bowl personally, because he has been a man on a mission in the first couple days of free agency, signing up every free agent they could possibly get in a negotiation room. But specifically looking at them picking up the 2 big-name tight ends out of free agency this year, Hunter Henry and Johnny Smith are New England Patriots, and what are my thoughts on this deal? Now, the reason I was low on the Patriots last offseason, if any of you remember, and you're an OG, and you're still around after that entire NFL season, thank you. I love you. The reason for me being so low on the Patriots last year was there just was a lack of talent on that roster, and I was preaching to everyone who was, saying that Bill Belichick was going to figure it out, that at a certain point the players got to go out and play, and the coach/general manager can only do so much. I predicted they were going to go 8-8, I believe, after they picked up Cam Newton. It was much lower before they picked up Cam Newton, and sure enough, they won 7-9. Now, I say that, and I preference that, and I preview that to say that I got to remain consistent and applaud Bill Belichick and applaud the Patriots for being aggressive during this offseason. Look, they're working hard to replace that talent that they lost over the last couple of years with players leaving and then eventually Tom Brady leaving. And it's showing that this team and the Patriots do not want to lie down and go into a strictly rebuild period and are more ready to just kind of take the Patriots a different direction, whether it's with Cam Newton or with someone else. For now, it seems like it's going to be with Cam Newton. And that direction, based off what they've done so far this offseason, to me, has them competing for a wild card spot or even possibly the AFC East. This is going to be a good team next year once they get all these opt-outs back and their signings from this offseason. Now, as far as this move of adding these 2 tight ends specifically, it's really intriguing to me. I fully think now with a full offseason, Bill Belichick is going to find a way to use Cam a little bit more efficiently than last year. While Cam Newton did okay on the ground, through the air, was one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. And I still look to see a run-first offense, but I think Bill Belichick and the Patriots are going to blend this offense to more of a in-between style. We're going to see the 2 styles come together. We're going to see the dual tight end, Aaron Hernandez-Gronk, that we saw back in the day, mixed up with the run-first ground and pound that we saw from Cam Newton in the offense last year. And that paired with a really sturdy defense, possibly a top 5 defense in the league next year. In my opinion, I think they will be again. That can lead to some success. And I think everyone has a reason to feel like that can lead to some success. And I think having these 2 tight ends really shows that Bill Belichick isn't just going to lay down and let Tom Brady continue winning rings while he just sits there and gets the brunt of everyone saying Bill Belichick must be salty. Now, in the same breath, this also just as well could crash and burn, and I have that in the back of my mind. They got to find a way to get these 2 guys involved for it to make sense to be paying 2 of the league's top 5 tight ends the highest pay in the league. Did that make any sense? 2 of the NFL's top... Out of the top 5, 2 guys in the Patriots are on there for highest paid tight ends in the NFL. So they got to use and abuse these guys. These guys got to be the feature players in this offense, I'm assuming, based off the money they're going to be making. As far as a grade, I'm going to give this move, as in the 2 tight ends, Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry, a solid B grade. While I love and I acknowledge the pure potential that this offense could be if they do that kind of blend, like I'm saying, I also, like I said, I am keeping in mind that it could completely crash and burn. If Cam Newton can't get the ball to these tight ends and they're paying these guys a combined $25 million at the same position, sucking up that much cap and then not being used on the field to the max, that's where it could crash and burn, and that's where the room for error lies. And it's a large room for error. But if it all works out and this is going down a direction, going down a road for the Patriots where it should be okay, then this is a very solid move, and I think a B is a very fair grade. And the only reason I give it a B is because they paid so much for these 2 guys. If they would have got Hunter Henry or Jonnu and a lesser tight end that's a little bit cheaper, I would have been less critical of it, but I just think they put all their eggs into this basket. We'll see how it goes. Moving on, another real interesting move for me was Ryan Fitzpatrick heading to Washington to join the Washington football team. Every team in the NFC least, every team in that division should be in a win-now mode because that division is wide open. Anyone can win it. So what I expect to see in free agency from these teams is each one of them trying to out-leverage each other and beat each other through moves. I've seen nothing from the Giants, nothing from the Washington football team, and nothing from the Cowboys. And the Eagles can't do anything because they've completely ruined their cap situation over the last couple of years. I mean, really, this Fitzmagic deal so far has been the biggest move. The Giants held on to Leonard Williams, but they lost Dalvin Tomlinson in the same breath. Kyle Van Noy just got signed by the Patriots. Fitzmagic's a guy to me that you pair with a young quarterback, like the Tua Tagovailoa situation, where he's just going to really be a transition guy. And I don't expect no different from the Washington football team. It's just, who is that young quarterback? I mean, are they going to draft someone? Or are they still planning on picking someone up? Is it going to be Sam Darnold? I don't really feel too high on Taylor Heineke, but if he pans out, he pans out, I guess. It's a win-win situation for Washington. This move just really is a head-scratcher to me just because I feel like Washington was a quarterback away and a young stud quarterback away from possibly taking control of this division for years and years to come, and they didn't go out and really make too big of a splash move by getting Ryan Fitzpatrick. So the overall grade I'm going to give this move is actually going to be a D because, like I said, I felt like one of these teams in these divisions needed to take the leap. They needed to make the big move, and this was an opportunity for Washington to possibly be the ones to make that move. They just really didn't do it. They kind of just treaded water here with this one. Although it's always fun to see Ryan Fitzmagic on the field, and it's always fun to see one more year of Fitzy, I feel like they would have gotten similar production if they just would have rolled with Alex Smith and restructured his deal, gotten that cap hit down a little bit, and just treaded water with him instead. I mean, Alex Smith did go 5-1 as a starter last year, and he's had a pretty long record of doing that with teams. I'd actually be really interested to see what Alex Smith's win-loss record is in his career, because I'm pretty sure it's probably pretty ridiculous for what we'd imagine it'd be. I guess there was some bad years in San Francisco that may hold or nerf that stat a little bit. But yeah, overall, this move doesn't make the leap that I want Washington to make this offseason through the free agency and through the draft. We'll see what they do with the rest of free agency, if they're going to make a trade or not. But as of right now, I'm grading this as a D. All right, Corey Davis to the New York Jets. By the way, I know this is the middle of the video, but I'm getting all of these suggestions from my friends for this initial video. From this point forward, I'm going to grade some more offseason moves over the next couple of weeks. The suggestions are going to come from you. Yes, you. I'm talking to you. Thanks for watching, by the way, while we're here and talking. So drop a comment which move you want to see me grade next. I'm going to be doing like sets of 5 over the next couple weeks until I get most of them knocked out. Excited to get into it. So go ahead, drop a comment real quick which move you want to see me grade and talk about next. Moving on, let's talk about wide receiver Corey Davis getting picked up by the New York Jets. This move gives me very mixed feelings because I feel like there's a lot of questions still. 1, will the Jets get Deshaun Watson, or is this going to be a Sam Darnold-led team? 2, will Robert Saleh and the offensive coaching staff be able to roll out a really good offense that's going to feature Corey Davis as their wide receiver 1? Still to be told. They may also still be in the Juju or Kenny Galladay sweepstakes. Not sure if news is breaking about either one of those guys since I started recording this video. So yeah, there's a lot of questions here. And like I said, are the Jets still adding wide receivers? Possibly. Because I don't look at Corey Davis as a true wide receiver 1. They paid him borderline wide receiver 1 money, I guess lower end wide receiver 1 money. Didn't overpay too much on Corey Davis here. He definitely has the upside to become a solid wide receiver 1 guy. So I'm kind of okay with it. I expected the Jets to nab one of the premier wide receivers, and Corey Davis definitely was in the top 5 for wide receivers in a very loaded free agency class. And I think the draft class is loaded as well. Wide receivers are going to be going around everywhere this offseason. I'm going to give this an overall grade of a C just because I'm not really sure how to feel about it. And if I'm not really sure how to feel about it, that means it must not be too bad, but it must not be too good either. It's just kind of like, oh, cool, Corey Davis is a New York Jet now. I personally really wanted to see Corey go somewhere where he's going to be a high-end wide receiver 2 still and help a team that's already contending continue to contend. And there's a few teams that had the option to go ahead and nab him up, and they kind of passed on him. I think the Jets probably threw the most money at him, and that's what he wanted right now. This was his chance to get a payday, and he got it, and he's going to go on with his career as a New York Jet from here. Happy for him. Congrats to Corey Davis. There are still wide receivers available, and the Jets still could add a notable wide receiver 1. I mean, at this point, it's Kenny Galladay or Juju Smith, I think, to pair with Corey Davis in that Jet offense. If not, maybe they can develop someone from the draft this year. Moving on, let's talk some Trey Hendrickson, edge rusher that used to be a New Orleans Saint, who is now a Cincinnati Bengal. The Cincinnati Bengals defensive line was one of the worst last year, so adding Trey Hendrickson addresses a very big need for the Cincinnati Bengals. And they must have known that they needed this because they rolled up the Brinks truck for Trey Hendrickson. Now, with that being said, I feel like Hendrickson is exactly what the Bengals should have been looking for as a premier pass rusher on this defensive line and a guy that they can premier for years to come, become a franchise-type level pass rusher for the Cincinnati Bengals. He's young, he's talented, he's hungry, and he's only 26 years old. And he's getting big money to go to the Bengals and be their pass rusher. And to me, when I look at it and I think of Trey Hendrickson in a Bengals jersey, doesn't he just have the look of a Bengal? I don't know. I just feel like he's going to really fit well in that jersey and look good in orange. On the downside, they did pay a guy who only had 1 good season out of his 4 years in the league so far a large sum of money. So I would have liked to have had one more good year in his bank account, as I like to call it. One more good year in his repertoire on his resume for me to really give him that big of a deal. But overall, I'm going to give this move a B+, which is very solid, just because I feel like this is the moves the Bengals need to be making. They need to be adding young guys that are going to grow with Joe Burrow and turn this team into a contender in that division a couple years down the road, not necessarily immediately tomorrow. I believe Trey Hendrickson is one of those kind of guys who can be a solid pass rusher for at least 5 years to come, maybe 7. If he's good enough, push 10. I am rooting for Kenny Galladay to go to the Bengals for similar reasons. This would be a fun one if he went and got with Burrow and Tyler Boyd. The only thing holding this out of being an A for me is the fact that Trey Hendrickson only has the 1 good year under his belt. If he had 2, I'd be safe with making this an A grade. Speaking of teams addressing needs, let's talk about center Corey Lindsey getting picked up by your Los Angeles Chargers and my Los Angeles Chargers. Corey Lindsey got picked up by the Chargers and became the highest paid center in football this offseason. Look, when you look at the PFF grades, now let me tell you right now, I don't think that the PFF grades are gospel. I just want to point that out. But they do give us kind of a direction to start thinking and analyzing stuff. I think that the PFF grades should be used to establish arguments, and then you can go ahead and do more research, watch some film, and really make a decision if you're comparing players. Anyways, PFF graded the Chargers center Dan Feeney as the 31st ranked center in the NFL last year. And now the Chargers went out and signed the highest ranked center in football. Yes, let's go. What an upgrade at the position that the Chargers were the weakest on probably the entire team. Pairing an elite center like Lindsey with a young star quarterback like Herbert, I think that is genius to help keep Herbert protected for years to come. Tom Telesco, just give you some applauding, man. God. Also, Bulaga and Lindsey, former Green Bay Packer teammates, reunited, and it feels so good. The Chargers also added a tackle from the Pittsburgh Steelers, so this has been a good offseason so far for the Chargers as far as fixing the offensive line issues. There's some more issues to address, in my opinion, and I hope they address them either in free agency or in the draft, but big move picking up Corey Lindsey. And you ready for my grade? I'm giving it an A+. Look, I know you guys are going to call me a homer, but does it get better than getting the best player in the NFL at the position that you're the weakest? I don't think it gets better than that as far as a move. It's like if you didn't have a quarterback and you somehow signed or traded for Patrick Mahomes, it's an A+. You can't do any better than that. And I hear y'all, those who are concerned with the big contract and the big money deals being handed out to players. If you have the best center in football, I think it's worth it to pay the most money in football for his production. That's exactly what the Chargers are going to do. This is the best move of free agency so far, and I'm grading it an A+. I mean, it just makes sense that the best free agency move would get graded an A+, right? Well, that does it for me. I had a great time analyzing and breaking down some of these big moves made by NFL teams. Some splash moves, some boring moves, and a lot of in-between moves. If y'all enjoyed the show, please help me out. It takes 2 seconds to help change my life. Hit subscribe button and the notification bell. And if you want to go one step further, hit the thumbs up button right next to it and drop a comment which moves you want to see featured in the part 2, which is going to be coming out in a couple days. But I need suggestions, so please drop in those comments which moves you want to hear me grade next on the Mike Sports YouTube channel. If you want more from me, I am Mike on the Mike Sports on all social media platforms: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, everything in between. We do lots of goofs and we do lots of funnies over there, and I interact with everyone. It's a fun time. Go check me out on all those different social media platforms. Also, before I go, please check out the Warzone Sports Network on YouTube. I am the co-founder. We are just getting this thing kicked off. We have 3 shows airing every week. Weekly shows. We got 1 show that airs on Mondays, 1 on Wednesdays, 1 on Friday nights, and more are coming, by the way. I did it again. What is wrong with me? And more are coming, and I'm excited for it. Head over to the Warzone Sports Network on YouTube. Hit the sub and check out all the videos over there. It's more of a debate-style show. I co-host Friday Night Wars, and me and Joe Morley go at it every single week. That's all the cheap plugs for the episode, I think. Yep. Got them all. Thanks for watching one more time. I appreciate you guys so much. Everything I do, all the grinding, everything, all day editing, things like that. I do it for y'all, and I enjoy it. And it's a great time seeing other people enjoy the content that I create. With that being said, I am Mike, and I am on the mic, and this is me saying, until next time.
I gave you fair warning, beware.
Smack him in the mouth.
I gave you fair warning, beware.
I'll smack him in the mouth.
I gave you fair warning, beware.